The Truman Show on 4K Blu-ray. How does it compare to the older Blu-ray? And what are my thoughts on the movie? Here we go. All right, so right off the bat, one of the things I noticed between the older Blu-ray and the new 4K is that on the older Blu-ray, right when you start it up, it's just you see dirt speckles all over the film, and then there's a lot of blocking. Like the picture looks like it breaks up into blocks. Um, it's not too severe, uh, but the 4K you can see the grain, but there's no like grit or dirt. Like you can see the film grain, and so automatic like right at the beginning you can just see that it's been cleaned up. So other than the added resolution of the 4K, one of the major differences is the colors are a lot more nuanced. So overall, the picture is just a little bit less bright. But that's versus the Blu-ray, which to me looked overly bright, like like so bright, it kind of hurting my eyes. And so the colors look more nuanced and lifelike, and it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. Another difference between the 4K and the Blu-ray that I really wasn't expecting was some scenes have like a jitter, like they're almost like shaking back and forth, left and right. It's actually this scene right here. Like especially if you look at the houses in the background on the Blu-ray, they're like it's almost like they're shaking back and forth, and on the 4K, it's perfectly stabilized. So it's it's a huge upgrade in so many different ways from the Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is not unwatchable, but the 4K you just feel like you're watching a clean film that's been color corrected and everything just looks awesome. And then the sound is just more robust and full with the Dolby Atmos on the 4K. So I love this movie and this was a huge upgrade. So let's go into some things about the movie that I noticed and that I like. All right, quiz question. What do this movie, and this movie all have in common? Besides the fact that they're all awesome movies, they are all by the same director, Peter Weir. That is so random. Awesome group of movies. So, real quick note on the Blu-ray menu and navigation. Look at this. This is the menu. There's nothing on the disc besides the movie, which is fine because that's why we get it. But look at this, just like three choices. It has the settings, the scenes, but there's no animation, there's no music. I mean, the Blu-ray menu looked better than this. It has the Dolby Atmos, which people lately have been including this explanation of what Dolby Atmos is and how it works on a home theater, so that's kind of cool, but this is like the definition of a bare bones release. All right, listen to this.
Many viewers leave him on all night for comfort.
We find that many viewers leave him on all night for comfort. Do you know anyone that just leaves the TV on constantly or has to have their YouTube show going on or just whatever constantly? This is pretty timely here. So lately I've been really enjoying comparing books to movies, and Truman Show reminded me of these things. So one, the part we just talked about where people leave the TV on all night for comfort. Fahrenheit 451, where people have this is one of my top like three favorite books of all time. But this is where people have like all their walls in their room are just giant TVs and they watch them constantly. And so that reminds me of Truman Show. Next is 1984, because it's like an authoritarian state that you can't deviate from. If you try to have your own free thinking, you'll get caught down. They'll chase you down and get you, and they try and change history. And anyway, this is like a little microcosm of 1984 in The Truman Show. So I thought this movie also has a bit of this in there. And then I didn't pick one Philip K. Dick story, but just Philip K. Dick in general. It seems like there's a little bit of the like dystopian, being watched all the time themes that he has come into this movie. All right, here's a bit of a wild one, but The Trial by Kafka, just like the paranoia of Truman and like everyone following him and him like kind of getting in trouble for doing things. Like he just went into a building and looked at an elevator and he gets like thrown out. So just I'm talking about Truman in the movie, could be in The Trial as well, but so just the fact that he's just paranoid, people are following him, people are watching him, and he doesn't quite know like what he's on trial for. So I think there's a bit of this in here too. And a sprinkle of this, why not? So far everything's been like really happy and well lit and bright. He did have the flashback of his dad dying, which was kind of scary. But it almost seemed like it was to make him afraid of the water. Like they orchestrated that. But up until now, it's just been like product placement and people watching him and kind of guiding him and stuff like a little bit eerie, but nothing downright terrifying like this. His dad sneaks back onto the set.
Dad?
And the music gets all creepy.
Hey, what are you doing? Hey! What's that? Oh, stop! Get out of the way!
Anyway, it gets full on creepy in 1984, and all of a sudden everyone is against him, and there's scary music, and they drag his dad off. So it actually, like, it's like, oh, this is fun. He's funny in the mirror, and he has a fun personality, and everyone's doing product placement, and then all of a sudden you're seeing this, and it's like, oh, this is really manipulative emotional abuse and like horrible what this corporation is doing to this guy. It's kind of like at Disneyland. I don't know if you've ever been there and had a bunch of people just suddenly show up and drag someone away or anything like that, but actually it is kind of like at Disneyland. A dystopian nightmare shrouded in fun. I think one of the things that's so creepy about this whole movie is one, his mom. Look at the picture of herself over there. But the fact that all these actors that are playing his family and friends, these paid actors that he's known his entire life, are just deceiving him on a daily basis. Like right now, she's telling him that he didn't really see his dad, even though he totally did. But it's just this like creepy manipulation from everyone around him. But they act like they love him, but they're paid actors that are just lying to his face, and they're just totally good with it. So he's down in the basement playing in his old trunk of toys, trying to go down memory lane and think about the girl that he met in college, the only one that he experienced any actual true passion with. But he's married to this lady who is just like the best choice at the time, and like an artificial relationship. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think most guys, if a girl is very, very forward and half decent, the guy will probably go along with it. Anyway, so they're married, and you just get the feeling that it's not the best. And so later when she leaves, there's no heartbreak. And actually she leaves off screen. She just disappears, and they're like, oh, she left. Like, they don't even give her an exit. But just look at how he reacts when she comes down in the basement and is bugging him.
What did you want?
I made macaroni.
She says that like a commercial.
You know, you really ought to throw out that mower.
Watch her look at the camera.
Get one of those new elk rotaries.
She just has like this commercial tone in everything she does. So I just imagine like every scene that you see him in, you see her do like a product placement. And if you imagine his life just day after day after day of his wife just like product placementing stuff to him, you could see how they don't really have like an actual relationship, and he seems like annoyed. And I know he wants to get out when the grandma's like pressuring him to have kids, but I kind of wonder if they don't want to have kids because, I mean, yes, he wants to escape and get out of there, but maybe because he's not completely committed in this marriage, partially because she's so artificial, so maybe he can detect that. There's so many amazing, super subtle, just facial moments with a lot of the cast in this movie, like when they're just creepily watching him. But look at her face right here. So him and Sylvia have been like googly eyeing each other, and they're at the dance now, and he keeps looking over there, and watch her face when she looks over at Sylvia. It's very brief. Did you see that? It's like a little scowl. And then all of a sudden all these suits show up and just drag her off. This is so creepy. So this movie, again, it's like fun and really well lit, but really it's like a dystopian nightmare. I love it. I love the cinematography in this movie, how almost every single shot is designed to look like some kind of hidden camera, like voyeuristically watching him. So we feel like we're kind of part of, like we're in on it too, like we're watching him. So we get to see all the camera shots. Anyway, stuff like this when he walks into this turnstile spinny door. Just such cool cinematography in this movie. Just all the hidden cameras, and then when he walks out the door, the camera like tries to settle on him, and it's totally artificial, but it looks like some camera operator trying to like get a beat on him like that. And it goes out of focus and in focus, and it's so, the cinematography is so subtle that you don't notice it, but it's incredible in how like artificially creepy it is. So Truman's just been kicked out of the building for looking in the elevator where the behind the set walls were visible. And I love what he does when he pops out of here. And watch the guy's face on the ladder. Look at the guy's face on the ladder. He's realizing that no one will do anything when he's unpredictable, and it's starting to freak him out. And what I said earlier about everyone's faces in this movie being so subtle and amazing with their acting. Look at Jim Carrey's face in the reflective thing right as he walks out of the room, where he's annoyed that no one reacted and he feels like everybody's in on it. So he says a big thing, and then look at his face. Look at this.
Hey, I'm game. What?
He's got like a look of disdain right here. Look at this.
Birthday comes but once a year.
You see that? He almost like bares his teeth in disdain as he walks out. I love all these posters in the travel office. Have you bought enough insurance to protect against terrorists, disease, wild animals, and street gangs? So speaking of their relationship not being very good.
Why do you want to have a baby with me?
You hear that? Why do you want to have a baby with me?
You can't stand me.
That's not true.
You hear that? Why do you want to have a baby with me? You can't stand me. So I think at this point he's realizing, well, I mean, not at this point, but it seems like he has already realized that she doesn't actually really like him, and that it's like a weird chore to be married to him. But this is awesome, where she just doesn't know what to do.
Why don't you let me visit
She
low
does
cocoa
an
beans?
advertisement.
All natural cocoa beans from the upper slopes of Mountain Nicaragua. No artificial sweeteners.
Who are you talking to?
I've tasted other cocos. This is the best.
What the hell?
I love it. I like that he's finally like responding, just like, what does this have to do with anything? But you can tell that she's really lost it. She doesn't know what else to do. So she just goes into commercial mode. So The Matrix came out a year after this in 1999. But it's also another movie about a person being trapped inside of something, and like the fact that you like can't contain the human spirit. And I just like, that's why I think the end of this movie is so triumphant, and kind of why I'm rooting for him while he's like driving around in traffic and driving through the fire and everything, is that he can't be contained. He's decided he needs to go out and explore, and like he's trying to break out of this artificial world. And I just love watching him like fight it and eventually get out of it. It's such like a heroic movie for him, even though it's like terrifying that he's in there. But I love the story that you just can't keep him down. So this is right after they've just artificially created his emotions by bringing his dad back, and they get him to cry. This is in the studio, but look at the irony of what's on these people's on these people's t-shirts. Love him, protect him. And this is in the very room that in a short time they're going to be trying to kill him with waves. It's pretty ironic. I love every time it cuts back to Sylvia. Right here, she's just like seething with rage and disgust at just the manipulation that they're doing. But I also love it how you see her reacting when it's straight up just showing Truman not being able to forget about her and how she's so touched. So it's really sad and really funny how they show how obsessed people are, like Truman's fans in the real world, how obsessed they are with watching him. And this is classic right here.
And welcome to True Talk, our forum for issues growing up.
You got a family ignoring the screaming baby in the background so they can watch their show.
Exclusive interview. Thanks
Listen to this BS.
our audience for granting this exclusive interview. We know how demanding your schedule is, and we all know how jealously you guard your privacy.
Do you hear that? This interviewer is interviewing Christof, the creator of The Truman Show. He's like, thanks for giving us this interview, because we know how jealously you guard your privacy. And it's like, Man, that is some hypocritical BS right there, because Truman is like, no privacy at all, and then Christoph's like, demands privacy in his life. And I guess that's his prerogative, but it's just like so hypocritical that he's taken away the right to privacy from Truman. Truman doesn't even have the option of privacy. And then Christoph lives this famously private life. It's like the juxtaposition and the irony in this movie are perfect. So Christoph is obviously playing God to Truman, and he wants to have the first on-air conception, which is kind of crazy. And he, like, when Truman's asleep, he goes up to the screen and like touches the screen, and so he has like this facade of caring for Truman, and then he tries to drown him or capsizes his boat here on purpose.
That's enough.
And then a very godlike thing to do, he calms the seas. So, I mean, the symbolism here is not lost on it. This is a pretty on the nose comparison between Christoph and God, where he calms the seas, and then later he's gonna be talking out of the clouds and out of the light in the clouds. And I think the irony comes to an absolute head when he's trying to get Truman to talk, and you know, he's been speaking in such a calm voice, and I was there when you were born, when you took your first steps, but Truman won't talk. And then he tries to get Truman to talk, and he kind of breaks his disguise and actually blasphemes, tells him
Say something. You're on television. You're live to the whole world.
Anyway, I edited out the blaspheme there, but he say something, gosh dang it, you're on television. And it's just that old kind of 90s thing that it's like, I'm on TV, look at, I'm on TV. Or like the TV kid from Willy Wonka, just he goes from this soft voice, like, I was there when you were born, to just like, say something, you're on TV. Like he ruins the illusion and ruins the fact that he was playing God and that he is completely not God. Obviously he's just a director, but there's a lot of parallels here. And then ironically, boop, she looks up and basically says like a prayer for Truman at this point, that he can do it. I love his look of fear as he realizes Truman's actually gonna leave, and then her elation, and they're gonna be together, and it's gonna be so amazing. Part of the tease of this movie is that they don't show you what happens once he leaves, but I do love this right here. Oh, I love it. She's gonna go get him, because earlier we found out that she is in Hollywood, which is right by the Truman studio, so she lives nearby, so she's totally gonna go get him. She probably knows what exit he's going out of, you know what I mean? So she'll be able to pick him up before he gets swarmed by his billions of viewers. I think the ending of this movie is absolutely perfect, and it just sums up the whole message.
No, I'm okay.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else.
Where's the TV guy?
The Truman Show finished up. It's been going for 30 years. It ends, and these guys are obviously at work, just watch the TV, but what else is on? It's just like this consumption mentality that was Truman's life that they were watching, and it just meant it became content to them, right? So Truman says, was nothing real, and Christoph says, you were real, but his life became content to everyone else. And these guys just saying, what else is on, is just the perfect ending to this movie. I think this movie is perfect. I love this movie. This 4K is a huge upgrade, and they did a great job on it. They put 25th anniversary, and there's no new special features. I don't know what that's about. Could they not get an interview with anybody? But Jim Carrey is incredible in this movie, and I love this movie. It makes me so happy. So I definitely recommend the 4K of this if you're a fan of this movie, or if you've never seen it. My goodness, what a good, beautiful movie. I showed it to my little kids, and they were a little confused. Thank you for watching. and please leave a comment of what you think. And I have a question for you. Would you, you people that enjoy watching my movie reviews, would you like to see more gun content? So I have a lot of shooting videos on my channel. Would you like if every once in a while I uploaded something shooting related? Just curious. It's kind of, my channel's kind of weird. It's kind of eclectic. It's got some weird stuff on it, but I'm wondering if those two interests would ever overlap. So I'd love to hear your opinion on that. Or if you're just here for movie reviews, I'd also like to know that. So anyway, let me know. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Bye.